Thursday, the 24th of November 2022 is the date today, and this is the Breakfast Show, a show that comes to your screen every morning from Monday to Saturday, where we discuss a lot of important things and aspects of what is happening around in the country. Today, I am your host, Prudence Chota, and I will take you through to the next about an hour and 20 minutes. I know we have started the program slightly late. This was due to circumstances beyond our control, but we excited this morning that in Lusaka it's a raining this year. The rain season is here, and we are glad that today we have received some rain. I know at the beginning of in the mid of this month, I don't know if it's beginning or in the mid of this month, we did experience rain in Lusaka, but for about a week it's been very hot. If you were in Lusaka, you can attest. But today, waking up this morning, we have been blessed by rains, and I'm sure the farmers out there have been looking forward to having the rains permanently start, because I know when we were having some rain some weeks ago, some people were arguing to say, no, this is not the rain season. Hold on a little bit, you might see things change and go to the west. We know we've been having some droughts in the past, but this year we have been blessed by rains, and we are so excited that God is there for us and wants to ensure that all farmers this year smile. So if you're a farmer and you are not yet ready, I think this is the time that you have to do that. This country is built on the agriculture system. We know that we do a lot of mining as a backbone for the country, but we are moving to agriculture because agriculture is the backbone of Zambia's development. So before I speak too much, this morning we are discussing with our first guest the shortage of medicines under the United Party for National Development, UPND administration. What can be the solution to this? I will be joined by a pharmacist who's of course also a United Party for National Development member, and we will be discussing just that. Then later on we will be discussing the democracy of the country. Is it at stake under this current administration? So stay tuned to Camnet TV. Send us those messages and contributions that you have to make. You can send us a message on our Facebook platform because we are streaming this program live, or you can call and make those contributions and submissions. So before I dig deeper into what is happening this morning, let's go into our morning boost. Remember, it is important to exercise. If you cannot exercise with us this time, when you go back home before going to bed, you can replay the clip where we are having morning boost, and you can exercise. A healthy nation relies on the healthy people, and you cannot be healthy if you cannot exercise. So let's exercise this morning together as we bring you morning boost. Stay tuned.
Hello, my name is Arson, aka the Fitness Puppy. We are here at Chonzi Fitness Gym in conjunction with the Camnet TV, and today we are going to do abs. We are going to do sit-ups. Get ready, we go. 3, 2, 1, let's go. Going 40 seconds. Thirty seconds. Let's go. 20 seconds. 15 seconds. 10 seconds, let's go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and cut. Okay, so next one, just stand straight. Let's go. Elbow to knee. 3, 2, 1, let's go. Both sides. Let's go. 40 seconds. Let's go. 30 seconds. Keep going. 20 seconds. 15 seconds. Let's go. 10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and quit. Okay, next one, we're doing a toe touch. This is probably the last exercise. 3, 2, 1, let's go. Going. 40 seconds. 30 seconds. Come on. Let's go. 20 seconds. 15 seconds, let's go. 10 seconds, come on. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and quit. Okay, lastly, we are going to stretch. Okay, we're starting with the cobra stretch. Go for a minute. Let's go. 3, 2, 1, and we go. Let's go. This is what we call cobra stretch. It's a type of stretch that will stretch almost every part of your body parts. Let's go. Stretch the lower back, shoulders, legs, including glutes. Let's go. We have 30 seconds. Let's go. 20 seconds. 10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and quit. Okay, you've been with me, Harrison, aka the Fitness Puppy. Until next time, bye bye.
Thank you so much for still staying tuned to Camnet TV. Remember, Camnet TV is not just another channel. When we say not just another channel, we mean not just another channel. We care about your health. That's why we bring you that health morning boost so that you can exercise, keep health, remain healthy, and contribute positively to the development of this country. So we will not go into other segments like the health corner and money markets because we are behind time, and we'll directly dive into our conversation this morning. So we are discussing the shortage of pharmaceuticals under the United Party for National Development Administration. Why are we seeing this as a case? And in studio this morning, I am joined by someone who's not a stranger to cameras, and of course, he has been an influential person in the past. I don't know about now. He will explain whether he's still an influential person, but he was speaking on the aspect of pharmaceuticals in the country, and we are, of course, discussing that topic. So I am joined by Mr. Jerome Kanika, who is a pharmacist and, of course, a member of the United Party for National Development National Health Committee. Sir, good morning.
Good morning, and good morning the viewers.
It's good to have you on the program this morning.
Yeah, thanks, and it's also good to be here. At least this is my second home when I'm in Lusaka.
Oh, yes. We are glad to hear that. What have you been up to of lately? I know previously you were almost all the time in the media speaking to aspect of what was happening around and stuff like that. But as it stands, you've been so quiet since you took over office. So what has been happening in your life? What have you been up to?
No, I think I've been talking actually. Yeah, maybe it's just that you don't maybe cover me of late. Yeah, but I've been talking other media houses and explaining what has been happening at the Ministry of Health and all that.
Okay, yeah. We are excited this morning that you have joined us, and I know the viewers who are watching us out there are equally excited to know that we will be talking about a very important aspect this morning with regards to the shortage of pharmaceuticals, that is medicines in health facilities under the United Party for National Development Administration. I know that was happening even in the previous administration, but under this UPND administration, we expected so much because you promised us so much, but we've not seen that difference, Mr. Kanika. In fact, we've seen a little bit of a reduction from what you promised us. So let's go first into our first question. Why are we having shortages of essential health pharmaceuticals in the country? As, of course, someone coming from the National Health Committee of your party, you should know what is happening. Why are we having critical shortage of some essential health medicines?
You see, when we are discussing these topics, most of the time, I like the members of the public to give a feedback on what they are receiving or on the ground there. So maybe next time as we discuss, let's see, maybe if we can have just the members of the public coding so that at least they explain what is happening in different areas. You see, as we may be here, but the people in far-reach areas, they may have some challenges, and those maybe they want to engage and all that.
Of course, we will be engaging. For those who are watching us and they have questions, the number on the screen is the number that you should call if you want to make that submission, contribution. And of course, you can send us a message on the different platforms that is on our Facebook page. We will be able to display that message, and hopefully Mr. Kanika here can actually respond to your question. So we are talking about shortage of essential health pharmaceuticals in the country under the UPND administration.
Yeah, I think what we need to say, or what I need to say is, first of all, we need to understand very well that we are coming from a bad situation, and at least we are trying to move in a better situation. Why am I saying so? We are coming to a situation where, in terms of the budget allocation for the Ministry of Health itself was minimal. Then two, the budget allocation for the procurement of drugs and medical supplies, it was also minimal. We are coming to a situation where we had a huge debt to service in terms of the pharmaceutical products, in terms of the drugs and the laboratory reagents. So we are coming from that situation. We are coming from that background. Now, yes, currently, we are passing through challenges. Currently, yes, there is a challenge. We need to accept that. We should not run away from accepting the challenge that we are having. Yes, currently, the members of the public are passing through serious challenges where they go to this facility, they are told them to buy a cannula, they are told them to buy a needle, they tell them to say, no, you go buy a syringe and all that. Yes, these things are happening. But these things are happening because we got or we inherited a serious collapsed healthcare system that has now, giving birth to all these things that we are seeing today. If the healthcare system, the UPND government inherited, was responding or was responsive to all these things, or if we didn't have all these things shortages, we would have not been having shortages today. Because you cannot say in 10 months, everything that was there have been run out, and they have run out, and now this government has not bought anything. But it is a reflection from where we are coming from. Now, why am I saying we are moving in a better situation? Last year alone, there was about 1.4 billion that was put for pharmaceuticals, and most of the money was budgeted for the procurement of COVID vaccines. Well, essential medicines and surgicals and laboratory reagents had less money. But this year, 2022, we have a budget of 3.4 billion that was budgeted for, and that we are using. But, you see, but we are dealing with the system that was collapsed. So what is needed first is to fix the system. And as we are trying to fix the system, we have all these things that are coming up, where now drugs are not there in some facilities, where now surgicals are not there in facilities, where now some fluids are not there in facilities. But where the money has been pushed into the supply chain for the drugs. And very soon, unfortunately, it has delayed, we are going to have the commodities as per what the Ministry of Health have procured through Zambia Medicine and the medical supply.
But I have one issue with this whole thing, Mr. Kanika. The United Party for National Development promised us that when they come into power, we are going to see the issue of shortages of medicine being in the past. From the time you took over office, this is about 1 year, 3 months. We've already elapsed a year, and you're still telling us that we are having issues with pharmaceuticals. Maybe before I ask that question, let's pick up a call. We have a caller. Hello, good morning. Yes, sir, we are getting you. Tell us your name and where you're calling us from, and then you can go ahead with your question or your contribution.
Yes, my name is Mark.
Pardon?
My name is Mark.
Okay, Itezi, it's good to know Itezi is watching this morning. Please go ahead, sir, with your question or your contribution.
Yes, what I'm saying, this month, we are having what before. This is the cool one. Make them pick up.
So we can hardly get you. Your line is quite bad. I don't know if you can maybe change your position where you're standing or where you're seated.
Yeah. I'm getting you.
Okay, yeah, we can now get you. Please go ahead with your contribution.
Yes, I'm saying that next month we have to get for, we are making in more,
Okay, let's do this because I want to get what you're saying. We are going to cut you and then you call back because we are unable to get what you're saying. So we are going to cut, then we are going to give you a chance to call back so that we can hear what you are saying. So now let me go back to my question. You've been in office for one year.
Yeah, understand. Look, understand this thing. We are coming from a situation where there was continuous damage in the system and supply chain at the Ministry of Health for continuous 10 years. So it's not the damage that you can fix in 1 year.
But Mr. Kanika, when we go back to some years back, that problem was not there in health facilities.
No.
We would walk in health facilities and we could find medicine there. I know it was towards the end of the time the PF was in office, then we started having these challenges. But if you were going in health facilities in 2015, in 2014, you would agree with me, or even years before that, that we could have, yes, quite a shortage, but the shortage was not as it was last year or a year before.
You see, I think let's understand this. we are coming from a system that was built well under the MMD government of Rupiah Band and Levi Patrick Mwanawasa. That spilled over into the PF government first years. But when now the PF came, after maybe the last 7 years of the Patriotic Front, you saw a lot of damage in terms of all the sectors and the system in the governance. And that damage is the one now that has spilled over into the UPND first year of administration. But that itself is not the hindrance for the party government to fail to do what they are supposed to do. And the party government is doing what it's supposed to do.
Let me hold your thought. We get this call. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
I'm all right, thank you, sir. Please tell us the name and where you're calling us from.
Calling from Maninga.
It's good to know Maninga is watching this morning. You said your name is?
Charles Gordon.
Mr. Gordon, please go ahead with your question or your contribution.
Yes, please. Yes, we are experiencing a shortage of drugs in health facilities. You know, the problem is why we voted in the UPND was to shift for the problems. Now, the problem with our government is that they are not taking government. We tell them to fix all the challenges of fear so that when everything is close to the health facilities, they will be cared for. Now, you cannot live in the same house which are the enemy and then thinking that that's the enemy will be keeping everything for you. You'll be bringing up things and your enemy will be sending out more things. So what you can just do to appear to want to evaluate the one achieving, but they can do. Let them forget some of these guys. People are making things not to go well. And their enemies are here. But nonsense, because according to what the experience in the CF manifesto, all the departments were headed by their cutters. So they will find it difficult to clean the system if they do something like that. But let them clean for the system so that when they clean the facilities, whatever they bring in will be okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Gordon Chabata. They are calling us from Maninga. It's good to know Maninga is tuned in this morning. So as you continue with your explanation or your thought, Mr. Gordon there has raised a very important aspect to say, you know, the system, we still have some of the people who are in the PF rooted in the system. And if you don't uproot those ones, you will continue having the issues with bearing fruits.
You see, somehow I don't agree with such sentiments. We need to, we should not politicize the civil service. These civil servants have been there since the time of Kaunda, since the time of Mwanawasa, since the time of Arabi, since the time of Chiruba, since the time of Sata, Edgar Lungu, and now they are here even the time of President Hakainde Hichilema. We need to differentiate between the party activities and the civil service. And it will be very sad if we go and say that all the civil servants who are working are all the PF and whatever. The UPND have just employed about 30,000 teachers. So are those teachers, they will be called UPND teachers? The answer is no. Those are civil servants. They have just employed, the UPND government has just employed 11,276 health workers. Are those health workers, we are going to call them, they will be UPND health workers? The answer is no. They are civil servants. So what's supposed to be done? Those civil servants who are still working, let them continue working and continue serving the system and continue serving the Zambian people. Those civil servants who have a problem or wants to join the politics or who wants to talk politics, those themselves, the system, it will repel them out. You see, there's no need of pointing figures to say that one, that one, that one. No, the system itself knows the right time to repel off. So what is just needed for the people, they need to understand very well to say civil servants are non-partisan people. And we need to respect that. When they are found supporting a certain political party or doing politicking, those forms they fill in are very instructive on what next need to be done to such a civil servant. So let's not mistake civil servants into or drag the civil service into politics. No. Those who want to do politics, leave civil service, come out and you can join the politics. Coming back to the issues concerning that, so the UPND in 2022 budget budgeted for about 3.4 billion. That itself should tell you that from the 1.4 billion to 6.4 billion, which is about 200% increment in the issues concerning budgetary allocation concerning health. And that itself tells you to say this government is serious in terms of fixing the problem under the Ministry of Health. As when you check very well, we had also an increment in the operation funds.
Seems a lot of people want to talk to you this morning because you requested for phone calls. Let's pick up that caller this morning. Hello, good morning.
Good morning. My name is Gabriel.
Gabriel, sir, where are you calling us from?
I'm calling from Kawata.
It's good to know Kawata is tuned in this morning. Please go ahead with your contribution.
Yes, I have a concern today.
Yes, please.
One of the causes of medicine shortages, I see that there is a fluctuating drug stores along the road, which is the transport, along the UPS road. The line was occupied by marketeers, but it has been overtaken by drug stores now. And I have a daughter who is epileptic. Whenever I go to the hospital, I'm told to go and buy medicine. Whenever I go to the hospital, I'm told to go and buy medicine. There is a problem. Who are the owners of those drug stores? They are doctors. And the introduction of NEMA, it is cool. The people not to be finding medicine in hospitals. So my concern is, who are the owners of those drug stores along the road, and why are we required to go and buy medicine whenever we go and ask medicine for those who are epileptic? Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Gabriel there from Kawata Lusaka. He's raised a very important aspect, Mr. Kanika here. He says, when you go to UTH, you'll find that place which was occupied by marketeers now is full of drugstores, and whenever they go to the clinic, he's got, I think, a child who's epileptic, and whenever they go to the clinic, their hospital, as big as the university teaching hospital, they are being told, can you go at the drugstore and buy? And the coming in of NEMA now has made things even worse because there are no medicines, and they'll tell you, come here to NEMA. What of us who cannot afford that?
Look, let's understand one thing here. Those are private businesses. But let's understand another thing here. We are passing through a challenging moment in terms of availability of drugs in our public health facilities. And that itself is giving serious headache to the Minister for Health on how best she can fix the healthcare system so that it's beneficial to everyone. Besides that, in doing that, we have seen where hospitals have been directed by the ministry to say, the grants that we are giving you, can you spend 50% for the procurement of drugs to cushion the gaps that are happening at ZAMSA. Then on the other hand, ZAMSA is working 24/7 to make sure that they do procure the drugs for the members of the public. Well, on the other end, we have challenges with some of our suppliers of these commodities. Let me give, for example, the other week, about 3 weeks ago, if I can say so, 4 weeks ago, ZAMSA advertised the tender to supply antimalarials. And this tender closed, and I think the other week, a company that was the lowest bidder and all that was awarded the contract to supply antimalarials. We need the antimalarials today. And when ZAMSA did the bidding or floated that tender for the supply of antimalarials, it was in the mind to say, once we give this company to supply the drugs, they are going to give us the drug within a shortest period of time. And we may likely to have the drugs if the latest should be the last quarter of December. But yesterday when I was talking with some guys, some friends from the company that they said they are going to get the drugs from, they have said that we are likely to receive those drugs, which ZAMSA gave a contract this month in June next year. So that's not a problem with ZAMSA. That's not a problem with the government, but it's now the problem with the private institution that was awarded to supply the antimalarials. Well, the people of Zambia want the antimalarials like today. So what should the government do? What can the government do in this situation where the manufacturer says we are going to be ready for these products to be sent to Zambia?
But this is not a new thing, Mr. Kanika. You know that this has been happening even in the past, where before medicines can come, they take a certain period. So that's why you have to plan ahead. We should plan ahead for things.
Look, these are the things that we are facing as a reality. You see? Well, on the other hand, the people are pushing to say there are no medications. Well, on the other hand, the manufacturers are also pushing to give us their medication at their own time. But this is where the challenge, and the people need to understand the challenge which the new government is passing through.
Your family member is dying and they are being told there are no medicines. How are you going to understand, Mr. Kanika?
If we manufacture these drugs locally, we would have said or instructed all the pharmaceutical manufacturers within the country to manufacture for Zambia, not for any other country, until our market is filled up. But we don't manufacture these products. We get from outside. And these people manufacture these products. They have also other commitment in other countries. So what ZAMSA is doing today, we are likely to have these medications, maybe as we may start, like ZAMSA mentioned, to say April, if we are lucky.
Let me hold your thought. Let's pick up this caller. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning. How are you?
Fine, thank you, sir. How are you?
I'm fine.
Please.
I am calling you from Moshi.
Oh, it's good to know Mkoshi is tuned in this morning. Please, Mr. Elas, go ahead with your contribution or a question.
Yes, I just want to contribute and ask my gallery. You know, we are dealing with a very sensitive ministry. I heard the assessment was saying that, you know, this government inherited, and I don't know if it is a system which was not smooth, what. Those can't be an excuses. You know, we are dealing with health things. This is health issue. Even at home, when there is no bill, you can't just come and say, I'm not going to buy minimum. We don't need excuses from government. Those are issues where you need to put things first. Even in prosecutors, even doing what, you should make sure that such a thing is health. In whatever you do in your country, if you can't look after your people well, it means you are failing. You are failing. The government is failing us in terms of health. There is another issue in terms of movement price. You can't be saying here, the previous government, they want no. The issue of previous government, let's put this issue of previous government out. Let's concentrate on delivering to the Zambian people. Even if the system was rotten, that's the reason why people voted for UPND government to come and sort out these issues. Now, if you continue saying previous government, that is the sign of failing. Thank you.
Stylas, thank you so much for that contribution. Mr. Kanika, you've been challenged there to say the reason why we voted them out is because we also saw that there is a problem here. That's why we brought you in. So you keep giving excuses of we inherited a bad system. This is 1 year, the 3 months. You're still saying we inherited a bad system. And then let me also add this. Earlier this year, when that budget 3.4 billion was given to the health sector, in the first quarter, the Ministry of Finance released resources that were enough. In the second month, February, they released money. In March, they released money for the procurement of medicines. January, February, March, and April, money was released on time. But up to now, we do not have some essential health medicines in the facility?
You see, it's good that you have mentioned that. I've just given you a practical example where ZAMSA signed a contract yesterday, a week ago or so, and we're anticipating that we are going to have the drugs by maybe mid-December. But this manufacturer says the contract has been signed and says, no, we are going to have your drugs in 7 months. That's what ensure they have told us.
But this is not new.
No,
this is not new.
I'm answering what you said to say in February, in what, and all those kind of things. So you need to understand very well that in a situation where you didn't have a proper system, now when you are trying to build the system, these hiccups, they will be there. But we need some more time. We need some more time. The new Dawn administration or the UPND government needs some more time. And these things come next year, by maybe second or third quarter of next year, there will be no hospital that will say that they have no medications. And the other thing that you need to understand very well, that the population of Zambia has grown. So even if we have been giving the hospitals operation funds, that money cannot sustain the buying also of commodities.
But that was the essence of increasing budgetary allocation to the health sector.
Yeah, it is the essence of that, but the population of Zambia has increased. Even if the hospitals are given the operation funds today, they will buy stocks just for 2 weeks. The other 2 weeks, there will be no stocks. The only sustainable way is when the drugs start flowing from ZAMSA, the procuring entity. And on the other end, ZAMSA is busy engaging the suppliers and busy engaging the would-be suppliers of the same commodities to the Ministry of Health. And once the drugs through ZAMSA start flowing, you will see there will be stability. But all these things we are passing through is because the new Dawn administration inherited a collapsed healthcare system that used to give you fake drugs, that used to give people in theaters drugs that are also counterfeit, that used to give people in health facilities drugs that are rotten, drugs that have expired. That's the system we are coming from. Now to rectify that system, to purify that system, is now these challenges that we are facing today. If we didn't have a government that destroyed the health sector completely, we would have said, no, look, we inherited a good governance system with this money of 3.4 billion that have been put in place by the new Dawn administration. Here are the fruits. But those things were not there. So it's like,
I'm sure when you were taking over government, you had a plan, like you had a plan as a party.
The plan is there. The manifesto is there.
In the first 6 months of the party as a health committee, we are going to do A, B, C, D, E, F, G. I think you did that.
Maybe if we say in that situation, on the scores, in terms of what the UPND has scored in the first 1 year, let's not forget that when the UPND came into office, the COVID vaccination rate was at what point? 3.5%. But it is now where we are above 70%. When the UPND came into office, we discovered that the hospitals were not receiving the grants. But where the hospitals now, they are on a monthly basis receiving the grants. When we came into office, you discover that we had a serious challenge in terms of manpower, in terms of manpower. And what has the UPND done? They have recruited 11,276 in terms of manpower. When the UPND came into office, I had to find out to find that we had issues of ghost health posts. What happened? First, the minister to sort out those the ghost health posts. So all those things are positive towards what has been done by the new Dawn administration. When the new Dawn administration came into office, they discovered that pharmaceutical suppliers were owed in excess of 2.5 billion. But when you go to these pharmaceutical suppliers, you discover that the money that is being owed now is less than $1 billion. The other money has been paid. So there are positive enough and a lot of positive that are happening by the new Don
these monies if you are saying the medicines they were supplying are counterfeit? So who are you paying the balance? Because you're saying the system was rotten and they were supplying defective medication, but again you're paying. So who are you paying if at all what was supplied was not of good quality? Those
that supplied air, those that supplied fake drugs, and those that didn't supply anything but want to claim money are not being paid. No wonder the first thing that happened when the new Don administration moved into office, Ministry of Health was one of the institutions that was put for audit, and the audits were done. Those suppliers that supply genuine commodities, those are being paid. And those are the people whom I'm saying we found the debt in excess of 2.5 billion, and about 1.5 billion has been paid to these people. So we need to appreciate the good things that the new Don administration is doing. Yeah, and this is just within a short period of time. Now imagine what will happen in the next, 3 or 4 years that has meant for the new Don administration to be in office. This thing today which you are talking about, the shortages of drugs, I'll come here and you'll be talking about excess of drugs and expiries in
Mr. Kanika, let me give you two minutes. As a party, what is it that you're doing going forward that is going to guarantee us that we are going to see this shortage come to an end, come what, next year?
Yeah, definitely next year, not next year January, please, I have not said January. Not next year February, no. Not next year March, no. Not next year April, no. Not next year May, no. But by next year June, going forward, we are going to have the commodities, the surgicals, the essential drugs, and also the laboratory reagents in all the facilities.
Okay. Mr. Jerome Kanika is a member of the United Party for National Development National Health Committee, and of course he is a pharmacist. At one point he was even a president of, is it the Pharmacist Association of Zambia?
Pharmaceutical Society of Zambia.
Oh yeah, he was a president at one particular period, and we were discussing this morning the shortage of essential health essential pharmaceuticals in health facilities under the United Party for National Development. Why have we been seeing this shortage? I know we would have loved to have him dig deeper into this issue, but this is why we have to close this session for discussing this particular topic. But we will extend an invitation to you, Mr. Kanika, to also appear next time so that we can finish the topic that we've just started. I've seen there is quite a number of phone calls that have been coming in, and I know a lot of people would have wanted to ask questions and speak more to this issue. So I'll give you more time next time when we invite you on the program so that we can exhaust some of the things that we've started today. I know we've started the fire, but we have to ensure that we put this fire off at one particular period. So we will extend an invitation, but for now, we are going to take a short breather, and we will be back where we will be joined by our second guest, and we are discussing, is the democracy of the country at stake under the United Party for National Development Administration? Stay tuned to Camnet TV, and let's continue to interact.
For immediate coverage of any breaking or latest news in Zambia and around the world on Camnet Television, call the numbers on your screen. Camnet Television, bringing to your screens fair news, impartial news, credible and reliable news all the time. Get the whole truth on Camnet World News. Camnet Television, not just another channel. For immediate coverage of any breaking or latest news in Zambia and around the world on Camnet Television, call the numbers on your screen. Camnet Television, bringing to your screens fair news, impassioned news, credible and reliable news all the time. Get the whole truth on Camnet World News. Camnet Television, not just another channel.
Thank you so much for still staying tuned to Camnet TV. Remember, Camnet TV is not just another channel. Of course, we were discussing the shortage of medicines in health facilities under the United Party for National Development, UPND administration, and of course, we were joined by a pharmacist who is also a member of the United Party for National Development Health Committee, that is Mr. Jerome Kanika. And of course, we had to let him go because we ran out of time for that particular topic, but we will invite him later on this program where we can just explore more about this issue. But there's also a burning issue that is happening around. We know what the members of parliament did last week, Friday. The parliamentarians, they walked out of parliament because they felt the vice president was not responding promptly to the questions that were asked as to why the government has decided to award a private firm to audit, of course, the defense force of the country. So this morning, I am joined by Operation Young Vote Executive Director, Mr. Ges Nyirenda, and we are discussing, is the democracy of the country at stake? Mr. Nyirenda, good morning.
Good morning, Prudence. Thank you so much for...
It's good to see you smiling this morning.
Thank you.
It is a beautiful morning in Lusaka. If you're in Lusaka, you would attest that we are having a wonderful weather. That's why you're seeing Mr. Nyirenda, of course, smiling this much because we are experiencing good rains this morning. And for our farmer, that's a good sign that we are moving towards the right direction of having enough food stocks in our country. Let's go diving directly into our discussion this morning. I know yesterday you said something over the issue where you were urging the UPND administration to clearly state if the right procedure was followed in awarding the contract to the said private firms to, of course, audit these government institutions. So maybe just to talk a little bit about your perspective on this issue. What is your take? Let me just hear from your organization. What is your take on this particular topic?
Well, first of all, let me begin from what you have, opened with regards to whether our democracy is at stake. I want to categorically say that our democracy is not at stake. Actually, our democracy is thriving. Thriving in the sense that I think we see that participation is across. I mean, each and every individual is participating in our democracy because democracy is basically about, power and power to the people. It is the people that have the power, the majority, of course. Even the minority, they also have the power because they have to air out their views in a way or the other. So our democracy is really not at threat or under threat or at stake. And vivid examples can be given. I mean, if members of parliament can walk out of parliament, that's democracy because they want to express themselves through that kind of, a gesture by walking out of parliament because they feel that they are not listened to, they are not heard, and they have the right whatsoever to walk out of parliament because that is one way of actually expressing themselves, whether dissatisfied or whatever it may be. However, let me get to the question that you have asked. What is our perspective with regards to the issue of whether private entities or private auditors per se could audit, defense forces or any other public institution? the law is very clear. The law allows the Auditor General to contract or to engage, persons, private persons or private entities to be able to audit, government institutions or public institutions, or specifically the defense forces, as it were. This is so. It is provided in the law. Okay, under the Public Audit Act, that is Act number 29. Of 2016. It is clear that the law allows. The law is actually prescribing that can happen, for a private entity or private firm to be able to audit a public institution and the defense forces in particular. Now, we must know that this law is a law of 2016. And the law of 2016, we know that it was the Patriotic Front that was in government when this law was passed. And I mean, it's unfortunate that, today they are, sounding champions because, they're actually totally wanting to reject the law that they themselves, when they were in the majority and in government, had put this law together. So I think it's some kind of maybe hypocritical would be a strong word, but I think they are not being fair on the public, because then they must give us information to say this is the law that we passed, and the law is actually being applied by the Auditor General, as it were. Except, again, in fact, LAS issued a very comprehensive
I was coming to that
statement
as well.
Yeah. So I think we must be fair to the members of the general public, we must be fair to ourselves, and we must just be fair to our governance. Yeah.
Let's talk about the content of what was in the statement by LAS, where they questioned whether the right procedure was followed, because they said for the Defense Force, in as much as it is agreed, there has to be a concert that has to be written by the President, allowing that particular private auditor be engaged in this particular assignment. So the question is, do we have proof that the President did give consent that should go ahead?
Well, I think the best persons to ask that question is the presidential spokesperson, the presidential aide. I mean, the president has people that he has appointed who really know what is obtaining with regards to how the president is operating. Even the president himself. I mean, you are media. I mean, you have all the leverage to go and ask. Even just send a press query or something to find out whether this particular action with regards to the right procedure was followed, and I think they will be able to explain to us, and maybe it would be
like it is in this
it
case,
would be an opportunity. It would be an opportunity for us to even know what is really happening in the background, because then they must come in the open and say this is what is happening and this is what could have happened or did not happen, or whatever course of action or statement they give us. It will actually help us to really conceptualize whether things did happen in the background or did not. So the right persons to ask, to direct your energies as media is
even the stakeholders don't know whether the consent was given or not. But maybe let me ask these questions. For the media, we've asked several questions with regards to that, and what we've been told is the right procedure was followed.
Absolutely.
This is the information we have been given.
Yeah.
But the question is, When was that as an aspect? Does it mean there is some information that is being hidden from us? This is now where we ask: is the stake of our democracy, is the democracy of our country at stake? Because we are seeing certain information not being given out the way it should. Because even when the Vice President was asked in Parliament, all she said was the right procedure was followed. We did see later on a statement accompanied where people were saying the right procedure was followed. But the question is when? So we have information that is being hidden from the public, where in a democratic country it states that information has to be given when and as when people need the information.
Well, for me, I think it would be, you know, asking for too much for us to base, you know, to benchmark our democracy, whether it is failing or whether it is at stake or whatever, just on this particular issue. I mean, democracy is wide, and democracy is about the people, like I have said. So it would be unfortunate that we want to benchmark this democracy on this particular issue. Because for me, the issue is that democracy is about the rule of law, governance, and so on and so forth. So if the rule of law was followed, if the law was followed, then I mean, it defeats the question whether our democracy is at stake. But then you ask the question is, when was it given? What time was it given? I think they will be able to bring this thing to the open, because we have asked questions. So let's wait and be patient and ensure that you know, we continue to ask this question so that we are given the information that that we want. For me, I think basing the issue of whether our democracy is at stake or it's questionable or it's not working properly, or on this one single question, I think it would be erroneous.
Operation Young Vote Executive Director Mr. Ges Nyirenda is my guest in studio this morning, and of course we are discussing, is the democracy of the country at stake under the United Party for National Development, UPND administration. We've of course talked about the incidents that of course has been widely talked about over the Defense Force being audited by private firms. And then Mr. Nyirenda, you've said you can't base the premise on that. Let's also talk about a little bit about the arrests that we've been seeing in the country, where when you speak something today, tomorrow, police officers, we've seen the Chilufya go to prison, or pardon me, being arrested. We've seen the opposition Patriots for Equity president. We've seen PF Information and Media spokesperson Rafael Nakachinja, among others, who've of course been nabbed. We've seen Saboy Mboila was just recently in police custody, and they're saying now the way things are, it's like anyone who speaks anything against this government will find themselves in prison.
Well, I think again, it's we are more or less wanting to you know, put this regime or this administration on the line. Remember that we have laws, and I want to admit that some of the laws are very draconian. Some of the laws are very ancient. You know, they are laws that belong to the past, and we don't need them now. But unfortunately, they are laws. They are still on our statute books. And a law is a law not until you either amend it, repeal and replace it, or just completely repeal it, remove it from the statute books. So I think we are at those stages. And I think the government right now has done a commendable job in terms of looking at the Penal Code, in terms of looking at the Public Order Act, in terms of just looking at the general, you know, legal framework, because I think there's need, or there's been need for a very long time, that these laws are made, you know, are perfected to a level where, you know, we do not see each other as enemies, but we see each other as brothers and sisters, as one Zambia, one nation. So unfortunately, when you abrogate the law, the bad law, you will, have to dance to the tune of the law. But unfortunately, yes, we have seen that, again, unlawful things are done, where people are arrested for and are in custody for more than 48 hours before they are taken to court, and so on and so forth. For us, yes, we have issues with that. But then, at the beginning of it all, law is law. Whether it's bad law or it's good law, it is law. Until we change these particular laws, then all of us will smile and say, yes, these are the good laws that we have made for ourselves. And these laws have been with us for a very long time, okay? I mean, the Penal Code, the Public Order Act, and all these laws, including the access to information law, which has not been given to us for a very long time, by all these regimes that have gone. I mean, we had UNIP. Those laws belonged to the UNIP. Even before the UNIP era, they were colonial laws. But then UNIP failed completely in 27 years to change those laws. Came 20 years of the NMD. They were all, giving us sugarcoat stuff, and nothing was done with these draconian and bad laws. They came the PF 10 years. Nothing was done. Unfortunately, it is what it is. But if, again, the UPND fail to change these laws or to better these laws, then I think we'll be able to blame them at the end of the day. They are 1 year plus in office, and I think they have laid down things on the table with regards to some of the laws. Of course, not all of them. We would love for them to see, for them to attend to the Constitution. We need, constitutional reforms as soon as yesterday. But there's something that is on the table that has been put there to say, okay, we have the Public Order Act, we have the Access to Information, bill which we have, validated as stakeholders, and in the next few days we'll still speak to the same issue, and they are promised that between either the first quarter or the second quarter latest, we'll have access to information law. So, I mean, we can't nail them to the cross and say, because it's just 1 year plus that they have been in office, and there are those promises. So these laws, the bad laws, the draconian laws, have been with us since time immemorial. But now people are saying, even in UNIP, even in MMD, even in PF, people were arrested and they were not given bail. They were not, bonded at the end of the day. So it is such issues that, look, these are things that are stemming from way back. And we really need to appreciate. Of course, not appreciate and fold our arms. We need to push. We need to ensure that we do the advocacy so that these laws are made better. Because when we have better laws, it means that ourselves as civil society, the political parties, opposition political parties, including the government, will all benefit as a people, as a country. So it's important that this administration can really pay attention to ensure that these draconian laws, we should not have rhetoric around them to say that we'll amend them, we'll repeal and replace them, or we'll repeal them completely. In form of rhetoric, we want to see action, and we have some kind of action that has been laid before us.
They say democracy comes with responsibility. In as much as you want people to exercise their democracy, there should be responsibility. The amendment of the Public Order Act, don't you think it is going to allow a lot of nuisance to go unpunished? In as much as we are advocating for the amendment of these laws, this is what has kept us in order today. But don't you think the amendment of some of these laws, like you've talked about the Constitution, and let me specifically single out the Public Order Act, don't you think these amendments somehow at the end of the day will allow a lot of nuisance to go unpunished?
No, it will not. It will actually enhance our democracy. It will enhance our good governance. It will enhance our accountability as a people, as duty bearers, but generally as citizens. It will enhance inclusivity. It will enhance, you know, people's participation, and that's what we need. Okay, so we need equal participation, whether it is from the opposition political parties, it is from civil society, or whoever. We need equal participation. So it will not actually bring about mayhem or confusion or anarchy because certain things will be unpunished. I don't think so. It will actually, in essence, enhance our democracy and our good governance.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's give examples of those countries that are thriving on the issue of democracy that you can pinpoint to, and these have not been issues of concern, because we know issues of maybe insulting the president have been so prominent that people just think today I can wake up and say anything. But somehow they are restricted, knowing that there is this law that will pounce on me when I do that. But we've seen countries like maybe in the US, people just speak anyhow, and people don't seem to mind. Don't you think this is going to corrupt morals somehow of our young generation that is coming, where they will think anything about an adult is normal?
Not at all. I don't think that we want to create a society that would be ungovernable, a society that anarchy will thrive. I think there will be other avenues that will ensure that those aspects will be redressed. For example, and I want to maybe give what, as an example, what you have cited, where people wake up every morning and insult the president, okay, or say derogatory remarks about the president. And I saw one where I think they were saying, no, the president has diarrhea, whatever, which is quite unfortunate, okay, which is quite unfortunate. But then I think we need responsibility. Now, if I'm a civil society leader, okay, and I claim to have integrity, okay, and I claim to be a serious leader with serious leadership credentials, I don't think insulting the president will add value to my being a good leader. In fact, it will reduce and erode the confidence that people have in me, because, you know, I'm reckless. I can say anything any time. And if I can say those insulting words on the president, how about my followers? How about my campaign, you know, my foot soldiers? How about the women in my political party? Then I will insult them, I will address them left, right, and center. So it means that people must really weigh what they say. I mean, it doesn't augur well, it doesn't help for me with integrity and say I'm a president of a political party or an executive director of an organization, then I just come and insult you. For what? I go and insult the head of state or any other person. It doesn't help me. In any case, you see, Zambians are not fools, okay? They listen to us when we talk. They weigh us. And what we say, they weigh. What we write, they weigh, okay? And if somebody every morning wakes up and says those insulting words, and you think that Zambians will trust them, no, it doesn't work like that. You must be responsible, and you must ensure that, look, you get on, you carry on all this kind of integrity that you will have. Not at one point or one day. No, it is forever, because you need it as a leader and just as an individual in society. Yeah. Opposition
political parties, do you think they are offering the checks and balances the way they are supposed to this current administration?
Well, I want to say they are. Of course, some of them, because I think the challenge that we have as a country is that we want to bundle, you know, to brand the opposition as in one bracket, okay? There are opposition that are basically, you know, cheap those that insult. And look, I don't think anyone would really want to pay attention to those. They insult them, they brush them aside. But there are also opposition who are actually bringing issues that are very pertinent and that are very critical to the well-being of citizens as a whole. And sometimes, and most of the time, unfortunately, these are the opposition that we don't listen to. Sometimes these are the opposition that, we brand, they don't know anything, or they can't give proper checks and balances. So for me, I don't think, branding them as opposition together, it is helpful. No, let us single them out. Let's say, okay, this particular political party, they are able to offer checks and balances. This particular political party, they are able, and not just bundling them out.
But opposition and political parties have formed a cartel, like they've all come together. If we talk of the major opposition political parties that we have, they are all forming in this one group, and they are speaking one voice.
No, I don't think...
We might have one or two that are not part of that, but we know that the opposition has equally formed an alliance.
No, I don't think that is correct to say that, look, the opposition have formed this, it's a loose get-together. But we need to single out opposition who are credible. We need to single out opposition that have integrity, and not just bundle them together with those that day in, day out insult.
Going forward, as we come maybe to the dying end of the program, Operation Young Vote, what do you want to see in the country being done from both those in government, the citizens, and those who are tasked to give checks and balances to the current administration to ensure that we contribute positively to the development of the country? We all know that in as much as we speak, we want to see one thing, and that is improvement of the Zambian economy, regardless of who is in office. So as Operation Young Vote, what is it that you want to see from the government, from the opposition, from those who give checks and balances, and of course from the citizens?
Well, let me begin with the government. I think the government must ensure that they provide what the citizens want. Okay? Number one, yes, we have a number of promises that were made, some of them being fulfilled, but others, I think, with challenges. Probably they will get to, polish them and do them better. But I think we need serious answers from government where things are lacking. Okay? For example, I think the issue that Rain again was trending for some time was the issue of the farmer support, farmer input support program. Yeah, issues. I mean, we're not working out. We know that yes, now things have started to roll. The wheels of those things have started to be in motion. But I think we need government to provide us with information, because there's an information gap, and because of that, then there's a likelihood, which we have seen again in many cases, that people abuse that because there's a window of it's information gap, and people misinform. People bring on fake news as it were. So government must provide us with information from the government spokesperson, okay, from the Ministry of Information. I know that Comrade Tabokawana does a lot of work around that, but I think we need more beyond just Comrade Tabokawana. We need more people to speak in government and to be able to say and issue statements and issue positions with regards to their respective portfolio ministries, or just the spokesperson must be assigned that particular thing. With regards to the people, I think we need to participate. We all need to wake up from slumber. This is our country, and when our government does wrong, we must stand up and say it is wrong. We must put our country first, and our government, we can only put it first when it does correct things. When it does wrong, we shouldn't. We must stand up and say, hey, this is wrong, and we must be able to find means of redressing or addressing those particular concerns that we have from the people. We shouldn't sit back, fold our arms, and think that all is well by not, coming out in the open and critiquing these things. We ought to speak, because this is our country. There's freedom of speech, freedom of assembly, and all those fundamental freedoms that are provided in the constitutions, in our constitution and other laws. I think we must really, embrace them and ensure that we put our leaders to task. With regards to the opposition political parties, I think they can do better. And I know that some of them are actually doing better. But we need, I think the challenge that we have is that the opposition are not checking themselves. Okay? Because you cannot have your fellow opposition political party and you sit around one table and then their business is to insult. Their business is to be on the wrong side. I mean, we need to talk to each other and peer review ourselves and say, look, you must not get on those, on that angle or on that side of the law. We need to check each other as citizens. So opposition, it's like now everything is wrong with the ruling party and the opposition are right, even when they are doing wrong things. I don't think that is the correct way to move this country forward. So for me, I think we really need to engage. We need to be open to ourselves, and this is how we are going to create a better Zambia, by us being open to ourselves, whether it's government, it's opposition, it's civil society, it's general citizens. We must just be open to ourselves.
Operation Young Vote Executive Director Ges Nyirenda was my guest on set this morning, and of course he speaks passionately about these issues. I hope you have been able to see that and learn one or two things from their citizens. You have been challenged to take part in what is happening in the country. Opposition leaders, check yourselves, even as you give checks and balances to the current government. For the government, give the citizens the information that they want to ensure that they give you the right checks and balances. Very powerful submissions there from Mr. Ges Nyirenda. Unfortunately, time cannot allow us to go further than this. This is where we have to close the program. For everyone who's been watching us on the seat of their TV or on different platforms, it can be on your gadget, on your phone, on your tablet. We appreciate your viewership. We've seen quite a number of those who've been following us on our Facebook page. We appreciate your viewership and keep watching Camnet TV. But this is where we have to close this program. The messages we've not read on our Facebook page, we apologize. I know we've run out of time, but we'll keep following and reading some of those comments even as we begin to do our daily activities. So from me, Prudence Chota, my guest, Mr. Ges Nyirenda, and the entire Camnet TV production team, it's bye for now, and God bless you. Stay tuned.